Happy Wednesday! Thanks for coming to another craft night with friends. My name's Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make cute embroidery kits for beginners, and I am here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time, and it's a time that we can relax and craft together. So this week we are working on the Splendid Sampler 2 quilt along. We do this the second full week of every month, and we are working on the first aid block. We cut out all the pieces yesterday, and today we're going to start sewing them. I don't think we'll get done. It's a lot of pieces. For a 6.5-inch block, it is a lot of pieces. But we will get as far as we can, and I'm just working on cranking through these blocks at this point. I think we have around 35 or so more. I'll have to do another count. So, all right, let's get sewing. Okay, hello everyone. So here are all our pieces that we cut out yesterday. I have the sewing instructions right here. So we'll get crack-a-lacking on that. Okay, let's do it. So, shush it apart a bit. It looks like we start in the middle. So step one is we are going to sew these two pieces and, well, three pieces, I guess. These guys and these guys together, and I think we'll get a little lower here today. We'll have to press these as well. It looks like we're pressing towards both sides, so we're pressing open. Oh, this whole entire block we're pressing the seams open. Okay, so let's start with these guys and these guys. So I'll probably sew this one and this one, and then I'll take this off the machine, put the second one on, and take this off the machine and put the second one on. And actually, we have to make larger pieces here too. Where are they? Okay. These, we have to sew these together, and these down here as well, so we could actually sew all 4 of these bits at once. That'd be kind of awesome. Yeah, let's just start sewing all the dual things together. Yeah, let's crank on this thing. So we're gonna have to do, okay, all of these have to go. Join one F and one G rectangle along their edges, make 4 units. Okay, yeah. So we'll have to do, let's do 4 of these as well. We're gonna have to rearrange, but I'm kind of just getting the stuff that I know we're gonna sew together. We are gonna just speed through this now. No little piddly one sewing at a time thing. All right, so here's my plan. These are all later pieces, but these are all pairs or trios that need to get sewn together before we can put the whole thing together. So we're gonna do this column first, and then maybe add these 4 guys on after, and then we'll sew the next on, and then we can take all of this off at the same time, press all of them all at once, and then we'll have basically all our pieces to sew together later. And that's a good plan. All right, let's do that. So all of the sewing, not all the sewing, but a lot of the sewing all at once. That's going to save us from using the leaders and enders. And yeah, I like this. I like this plan. Okay. I think we're going to get done with this block way, way faster as well, which is great. I would love to get going on another block. Let's do these 2 first, the same. So I hope everyone's doing well today. It rained all day here today, which is just funny because we haven't had a lot of rain. It was kind of like that really nice, gentle rain, but it was all day. And then towards the afternoon, it picked up for just a hair, but still nothing too serious in our immediate area. So it was nice. Oh man, did you guys see that? I posted an Instagram story this weekend, or this evening. My brother and his wife sent over birthday chocolates for my birthday, and holy cow, are they fancy and so freaking beautiful. Um, I think the brand is like, it's like Christopher Elbow or something like that. Uh, Maybe they're based in Kansas City. That's where they're at. But dang, they're so beautiful. And John and I each had one. Uh, it's like you have to savor them and keep them for a while. But you'll have to check them out. Yeah, I've learned so much from going through these Splendid Sampler books. The first Splendid Sampler for sure, and the second Splendid Sampler book as well. So the first one, I feel like that's where tons of the learning happened, and I feel like this second um, Splendid Sampler is where like the practice is happening, and this is also the practice as well as far as quilting goes too. I've been doing, we get to quilt these smaller squares together because I'm doing the quilt as you go process, and that has just been awesome practice, and just practicing like hand quilting, just practicing all of the little bits. So I mean, I feel way more confident in all sorts of quilting techniques since going through both these books. That is 100% sure. I'm just trying different ways of doing things. All that. Alright, so I need to cut off the first little bits here. Let's just make a stack. Because these ones get that extra piece on it. The rest I'll just keep on for now, and then I'll cut all of these off at once. Okay, so these get a piece on the other side. So let's do that. So four extra little seams we're doing now, and then we can press all of this. I got the iron heating up. Gosh, I think we're going to actually really cruise through this. I was a little worried. I think we might actually get this done tonight. And I was worried that I wouldn't be able to, because after cutting all the pieces yesterday, I'm like, dang, there are just way more pieces in here than what I thought initially looking at it. But now that we're just kind of chain piecing them all together like this, I mean, this is definitely speeds things up. Ooh, what is the right and wrong side of this one? I suppose it doesn't matter. You sleep under your Splendid Sampler 1 quilt every night, Jennifer. Yeah, ours is, I think ours is on the guest bed right now. We use that one, I was going to say we use it in summer, but it's summer now. We've kind of stripped the bed at this point. We just have like a sheet on and the lightest of quilts, but we have, that's like our in-between season, I guess, because in the winter, we put the big jean quilt on. So that's like the fall quilt, let's call it that. When we can stand to have a quilt on the bed again, then it'll switch probably to that first Splendid Sampler again. Unless we got this one done magically, but I'm thinking we got some time on this one yet. Alright, gotta get a leader on here, so this is just kind of the first time we had to do this because we did all that chain piecing. So alright, let's, where did this come from? Oh, I got a pile of scraps back here yet. Alright, so I got my chain of all these fellers. So I'm going to snip them all apart, and we'll press these. So they're all pressed open, which means like we'll have a seam going in each direction versus pressing all the seams in one direction. All right, let's press this stack, and then it's just we got to add some squares to the side of one of these, like 2 squares to the top and 2 squares to the bottom, and then it's just final assembly. It's just plopping it all together. All right, let's grab the mat here. All right, so pressing. Not typically my favorite thing to do, but I think it's nice when you got them all done here at once, though. So I'm going to just press it one way. Then this was a tip that someone here gave me, like, then you press it the other way, and then they kind of stick up, and then it's easier to open them up for that open pressing. Oh, Jennifer says your wadding, which is what we call batting, is not very thick there. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I mean, we don't have very good air conditioning in our bedroom, so, or airflow, period. Like, it's not like we can just open the windows either and have that do much. So we have, like, literally like a sheet on that we kind of kick off during the night. We do not have our summer figured out as far as bedroom temperature. But I think I did like a bamboo batting in my first Splendid Sampler quilt. Either that or I had some like light polyester blend stuff left over, I think. I don't remember if I Frankensteined a few pieces together for that. I doubt it. I bet you I just did one piece. So I quilt the first Splendid Sampler by myself, yes, but I hadn't ever done free motion quilting before, so I actually just stitched in the ditch. I literally just stitched long lines every 6.5 inches, like where the the size of or every 6 inches, the size of the blocks. I just went up the sides and, the other way too. That's literally the only quilting on that quilt. And you know what? That is just fine. It turned out just fine like that. Don't need tons of crazy quilting if you don't want it. And I didn't know how to do anything else, so I did that. Or I didn't want to like experiment for the first time on that. Let's call it like that. I mean, I think I might have done a hair of free motion quilting, but enough to know that I wasn't going to go and try and do it on that quilt. Look at these baby pieces. Tiny, tiny. Ugh, that's so cool, Jennifer. Jennifer says, I just stand and look at it and think, wow, I made that. That is awesome. Ugh, that's the best. Yeah, Marie, these are so tiny, these little pieces. I think they'll end up being, they're an inch cut, so they're going to end up being a 1/2 inch when we're done. So they're going to be like this little itty bitty tiny squares. That's what I'm saying. Like when we cut this out, it's so deceiving seeing it in the book. But then cutting it out, you're like, whoa, okay. So small. Because in the book, they just look like normal blocks that you'd see in a quilt or whatever. But as you cut it out, then it's like, oh yeah, these are 6-inch blocks. Not. Ooh. This does not look like that's going to be square. How did I sew that? Are these rectangles? Oh, because they're rectangles. That makes more sense. I'm like, why is this not a square? But it's not a square. It's going to be a rectangle when it's done. Okay, geez, freaking myself out. All right, so we got 4 of these guys. To also do the seams open. Pretty. Gosh, these are so thin as well. So these will just be like little half-inch, tiny itty-bitty strips too. Wonder how well we did that. Ooh, looking good. That means my since this is like exact same size as the square that I'm gonna sew it onto, that means I'm sewing my seam allowances decently. That's good. My scant 1/4-inch seam allowance. That's good to know. That was a big learning curve in the first Splendid Sampler, just really trying to work on getting that seam allowance really good, because we're dealing with lots of pieces in some of these. So if you're off in your seam allowance, like your pieces will end up being like unnoticeably too big or unnoticeably too small. But when you stick a bunch of those next to each other, those unnoticeable little measurements really add up. So that was pretty shocking, I think, through a lot of that process. So it was always like measuring after I'm done, seeing how good. And if the block ended up being too big, chances are I was sewing my seam allowances too skinny. And if it ended up being too small, then I was sewing my seam allowances too big. So I tried to work on that a lot, and you probably hear me talking about just the seam allowances a lot. I know on the granny square quilt, those were pretty squiggled a lot, so that caused problems later as far as size, but it's, I guess, a lifelong working on thing. Definitely thousands of % better than when I started the first Splendid Sampler, for sure. Ooh, look at these pretty pieces. Okay, we are ready to lay this all out again. So let's I suppose we could do it right on the mat here. We're gonna need it again, aren't we? All right, so let's start on the inside. So it does look like that's the next step, although there's a few other things that we can do too. So we can like batch sew some of this again. So this gets sewn onto here, as does this. And we can't move on. So these pieces go on the side, but we can't do that until these are sewn together. But something we can sew while we're working on these is 2 of these get a white piece on that side and a white piece on this side, and then a white piece on this side and this side for another one. So I think what we do is we sew this to this, and then we sew one of these, and then once this is sewn, I'll be able to snip this off of the machine, and then I'll sew this one to it, and then I'll sew another one of these, which will allow me to snip this off, and then I can press it really quick, and then we can sew one of these on, and then sew this guy on to take this one off, and then sew this on, and then sew this to take it off. Does that make sense yet? I know that's kind of a lot, but if we go in that order, then I'll always have something on the machine, I think. Yeah, okay, so I'm liking it. So far. All right, so let's start again with this to here. It's kind of how I was. Oh, that was in my when I did the TikTok live, I talked about how I like planning out the path that I'm going to go with the embroidery, and I remember those, like, I kind of equated it to this, and let me know if you remember those, like, where you had to draw, like, the house that has that X in it, and it has, like, that little roof, and you had to try and draw it without picking up your pencil. I feel like it's kind of like, that's kind of the game, and this feels a lot like that. Like, how can I do it without taking anything off the machine? Like, without using a leader and ender, like where I can just keep sewing. And I think we might get it. I mean, I'll have to stop and press, and this sort of thing is going to take time, like snipping the one off before, but we still won't have, look how itty bitty, we still won't have to put another leader on at least. I'm putting the sewn part on the bottom because I suspect it might be a little bit bigger and stretch a little bit more, and there's that put the big on the bottom kind of tip, because the machine will pull it from the bottom, and so we could always hold the top a little bit stronger to have things line up afterwards. Alright, so now we'll just add this guy to it versus taking that other one off, although we'll take it off now. Alright, so let's take these two off, and we'll press this one, but I still haven't taken the other stuff off the machine. So this is going to get open seams still. Yeah, they're all open seams. Always have to check that. There's going to be a lot of seams in it too, because everything's so little. Oops, flung that across the room. I'm just pressing in the other direction now just so that the seams stand up. And then we'll try and get into here. Okay, there's the first side. There, kind of both sides here. From the front too. Ooh, hot, hot, hot. So small. Okay, so now we can start sewing. Ooh, I'm gonna just press this guy quick. There we go. We can start sewing these side ones on, and I think why not? Let's have this elephant be sort of upright. So this one and this one. Yep, that's next. So again, I'm going to trade off sew one, and then I'll sew another one of these squares on, and then take it off, and then sew this on, and then sew the last square on. But at that point, we can take this off and press, and then we can sew these to the top and bottom. At that point, we're probably going to have to take things off the machine more. Yep, so we'll lose our being able to go in one big bout at that point. But in the meantime, let's keep it all on the machine. Oh, Pam says, reminds me of making doll quilts. That's totally 100% what this is like. Because this would be, like, if you blew this up, this would be just a nice design as one big quilt, like, not blocks or anything, just this as the quilt. It would totally be an awesome design. Here's the other side. Stiletto is helping me today, that's for sure, and I'm just kind of using it to check my seams underneath to make sure that they're still open, that they didn't get flipped, and just it's that extra little pointy finger that's handy to have. All right, and let's get that off the machine by sewing our last one of these, and then we can press these. Well, I guess not quite all of them, because this one will still be on the machine. We'll get there. All right, let's snip both of those. All right, so this gets pressed open, and I think I might as well press this guy. He's done. Might as well get that out of our hair as well, even though we got one more coming. Oh, let's get it the one way. I got TikTok on the brain, you guys. John laughed out loud at a video this evening, and I've been thinking about it. It's a stenographer. That's what they're called, right? Like a court stenographer, right? Where they have those typing machines that type in some weird way, and they translate, or they just not translate, what would that be called? Where they write down everything that everyone says in the courtroom. One of those people. So it was her. Like, people would say, like, do it for, this fast song or that fast song. Oh, it is a stenographer. Yeah, okay, so a stenographer. So they're, like, naming, like, super fast songs. So she's listening to the song and then, like, typing, and they're seeing, like, can you do it as fast as this song? And, oh, my God. So the song's playing in the background, and she's just going to town, like, and, words are just popping off, because those machines are, I don't know. She explained how they worked once, and it was fascinating. Anyway. They were playing, like, some bare naked ladies fast song, and she was typing to it, and so that's just like going over and over in my head. Oh yeah, making transcripts of, that's the word. I could only think of translate. I'm like, that's close but not it. But yeah, making the transcripts. Ugh, there's just everything on there. It's all so interesting. Anyway, all right, this is coming along, though. Look at that pretty little inside piece. I think that looks nice. I mean, it's super subtle, obviously. I didn't do the bright red, just because that's not, my quilt's not really like that. All right, so this guy's going there. This one goes down here. Got two of those elements. We could get those elephants close. That's kind of fun. Let's put them near each other. I like that. Then we got this like kind of blue area down there. That's kind of cool. Like far away, it'll just be like this blue. All right, so I gotta sew. I guess this is where I gotta start taking things on and off the machine, because we gotta sew this and then sew this and press it before we can really do anything else. After that, this goes on here, and then we gotta take it off again, and this goes on here, and we gotta take it off. So now we're taking it all off. We don't get a sew in a row anymore. And then finally, this guy goes down here, and this one will go up there, and we'll need to press that one yet too. Totally 100% we're going to get this thing done. Pending something crazy doesn't happen, like we got to fill up all our bobbins or something stupid, or everything breaks, we will get this done tonight. So I'm not nesting the seam. So normally if we pressed these in one direction, the seam allowances, and pressed the other seam allowances in another direction, we would be able to just nest our seams together to match them. But now I gotta just kind of, I guess, just eyeball them. I don't do a lot of open seams. I suppose we can align the seam with the seam that we see down in here too. Or we could pin them, that's an option. I'm just so used to the seams being pressed in opposite directions, so you can actually feel them kind of lock together, and you don't get that same sensation when they're open like this. But people swear by their open seams, so I'm sure there's tricks and tips and all this. Oh, Gina says, I'll show my age. I used to win awards in shorthand. So my mom used to do shorthand, and I have like this shorthand dictionary. I stole it, and she actually reordered it later because she didn't know where it went. I'm like, oh, I have it. uh, and I tried to learn that once for a little bit. I just think that's fascinating. Shorthand, just it's like a magic language. I don't think I'm gonna get these lined up. Boo. Oh well. Let's see if I can stretch it a little. But I know exactly what you're saying. I have the Greg's Shorthand dictionary, or not even a dictionary. It's like a learning. Oh, I think I have the dictionary and a like a study book for it or whatever. I remember though once when we were little, we were talking about it, and I asked Mom if she could write supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, and I just remember it being like a squiggle that kept getting lower and lower on the page. I'm like, oh, so interesting. Alright, this guy's gotta get pressed. We'll do that next. Oh god, yeah. Neither of my seams are even close to being in line. See, that's why I like having the seams with the nesting of the seams, because I always get like, not always, but I very much a lot of the times get perfect lines where this line will just be perfectly matched up with this and not have that little stair step. You know, and this one has a pretty large stair step, so I don't know. There's a trick to this, to the open seams, that I clearly don't know, and I hope it's not just clipping all the seams, because boo. So I'm just gonna let myself have not perfectly matched seams. That's my plan. Well, that doesn't make me happy. I'd like to know there's got to be a little trick in there. Oh, Robbie Litton says, I have my mom's shorthand book too. I'd love to learn. It's just so neat. Be like you could have a secret. You know, I kind of. I don't know. It's just. It'd be fun to have. Like, you could write, like, secret notes to friends if you both knew it and stuff. I just think that'd be just fun. It's like a secret superpower. Alright. I think I gotta take this off the machine again. We're gonna get the leaders and enders cranking tonight, though. Oh, how do we do on that side? Oh god, just as far off. So it's the same. Like, I just did it the same as bad. So I don't know. Whatever. That's something on my list of having to practice, I guess. Strategy for getting open seams to line up, preferably without using clips to clip them together. Yes, shorthand pen pals! Oh god, how fun. I seem to remember them being like sideways. Some of the letters are like sideways commas. And, you know, if it's a little comma, then it's an S. If it's like a bigger comma, then it's like an R or something. And so you really gotta get like those different widths. Oh, Pam says I took shorthand in in high school, we used the Greg textbook. Yeah, so that's what I have. I can never remember what I wrote. That's funny. Oh, man. We should bring that back. I don't know any, like, practical reason to bring that back, but we should think of one. Oh, Robbie Lynn says, I'd like to learn just to read what my mom wrote. Ugh, see, that's cool. That's why I want to just be retired. I would just, like, I feel like I'd fixate on a thing. I'd by choice fixate on a topic for like 6 months or like 4 months. Let's call it 4 months, and be like, this is what I'm learning for the next 4 months, and this is gonna be my life for 4 months. I'm gonna do everything related to this weird thing, and the end. I could see that being one. To me, it's like a language. Like I'd love to do like learn a language. Hot, hot, hot. This guy looks like he needs another press. Okay. We got more pieces here. Next up, gosh, just really 4 more seams here. Alright, so this guy goes here. Gotta make sure that I don't do it the other way by accident, although I'm sure it'll look like another cool block. Alright, so this one, take it off the machine, then this one, take it off the machine, press, and then this one, and this one. So, alright, let's do it. Gonna have to get more leaders and enders in here. I'll have to find it. It's upstairs. We just we had a shelf with all our books on, but we've now cut a giant hole in that wall, so we don't have a good place for our books right now. And we've moved them all in like the upstairs hallway, where we gotta walk around them all. But it's up there somewhere, so maybe I can find it. When everything was on the shelf, I knew where everything was, but that was that wall that was in between our kitchen and the living room, and we cut that big hole in it. We're still not done with that, but we're getting there. Alright, I think my seam allowance is getting smaller, which is not good. I'm going to try and stick to a good seam allowance again. Alright, so I can do the other side right away. Alright, this one. Alright, good. Although it's still lining up. Well, no, it's not. This is a little bit bigger, so I am a little bit too small in my seam allowances. So let's get them to the right size again. If all your seam allowances are perfect on like blocks like these, all these blocks that you pre-cut to be bigger, you know, than all these like bits that are pieced together. Like this is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 5 pieces to make this to like equal this 1 piece. So if those 5 pieces together end up being exactly the same, then your seam allowance is perfect. But my pieces of 5 here are a little bit bigger. So that means I'm making my seam allowance just a hair too small, probably. So that means I need to see a little bit more edge here in the future, and just in general. I could feel like I was getting a little close on some of these other ones, and like, Gotta get more leaders and enders here. It's kind of nice to just have them a stack ready to go on the machine. Time to cut all these up again sometime. Oh, speaking of, I purchased some rulers. So I've been talking about rulers for the past week, and just, whoop, ugh, there goes one of my bobbins, empty bobbins. But I've been talking about those rulers for the past week. I finally ordered replacement rulers for the rulers that I hate, that I own now. I mean, you know, I like them better than not having them, so there's that. But just as far as those rulers go, I'm not totally happy with them. So I got I got like not three different brands, but two brands and two different styles on one of them. I got three total. So I got a Creative Grids one. So I don't own a Creative Grids ruler, except for that Stripology one, I guess counts. That's my mom's. So I got a 12.5-inch square ruler, and that's the Creative Grids one. That's to replace my current 12.5-inch ruler that I hate. It doesn't have any markings on. It's just the worst. So I replaced that one, since that's the one that I probably use the least, and I'm most unfamiliar with the Creative Grids. So I thought, okay, the Creative Grids ruler, I'll get that 12.5-inch square. And then I got a 18 by 3-inch one. So I have another one of those, but again, I don't like it. But I like the size. I just don't like how the numbers and stuff are written on it. So I got an OmniGrid, just a plain OmniGrid ruler for that one. And then I got a 6-inch by 24-inch, and that's an OmniGrip ruler. So theoretically, that should grip the fabric a little bit, but I suspect, because Jenna brought in her OmniGrip ruler today just so I could look at it, and I don't know, I think I'm still going to stick with my True Grip stickers on the bottom of these things. I'm not sure those things actually really grip any of these grippy rulers. I think they're not even close to what the True Grip ruler is, or the True Grip stickers that you can put on the bottom of the ruler, but I don't know, we'll see. Okay, this is going to be another seam allowance test. I'm sure we'll fail a little bit at it, but let's try and get these seams together again. Again, these are those pressed open seams, which I don't know. I don't have a good strategy for keeping them together yet, that's for sure. Okay, now I'm just trying to pull at this a little to keep it. So these are the seams I got to match down here, so I'm just trying to hold it there. Alright, we're in. Let's sew the rest of the way. Alright, let's see how we did. Get another leader. Oh, I think it's still raining. I think I hear little raindrops out there. Oh, I suppose we can just peek. Oh, get this. Ugh, so this is still not perfect, not how I would want it. Now here, that one's good. That's what we're shooting for right there, with it lining up perfectly. I think I really had like dig the stiletto in there to do that, but that's what we want, is that perfect matching up. Here we still have a tiny bit of a stair step. This is my first good corner though, which is a bummer, because I love getting those corners to line up. But, you know, not the end of the world. Who cares? Who's going to see that? If you get your nose right up in it, you would, but I don't want that friend. If I have a friend or someone looking at it who's going to who's going to go up that close to my quilt and critique me on, or mention that, hey, that's not lined up there. I don't need that friend. So, nothing to worry about, I guess. Okay, there's that first seam. So I'm just kind of pre-matching these up. I gotta get it on the table here though first. Alright, let's see if I can get my... Oh, I'm kind of pulling the seam apart a little bit. That's not good either. Ugh, yeah, let's hold those together. Well, I think we got close. Let's see. But hey, this is done. This is our last seam. Jeez. Wasn't expecting to get this far already. We can start a whole nother block right now, I think. That's amazing. So this one went way faster than I was expecting. Woo, there, that's a good seam. Oh, that might have been my good one from earlier. Yeah, I mean, yeah, these ones aren't bad, but they're not like amazing. But this turned out cute. All right, let's do that final press. I gotta still press these seams open, and we'll hit it from the front again, I think. Ooh, gosh, there are a lot of seams in this little guy. So I'm just popping it back up the other way. Uh-oh. I squished one of these seams, so one of these seams isn't open anymore. So that must have got caught on the machine. A little bit like when it went under the feed dogs, it kind of pushed itself to the other side. Come on. There we go. So, oh well. Trying to get this all flat enough so I can flip it over. Set the iron down, see if I can keep those seams flat. It's so poofy. These are going to be tough to quilt. I mean, all of this is going to be tough to quilt because of all the seams. But we've been doing it so far, and it's been fine. Alright, and just out of curiosity, I want to see what this size ended up being. I feel like it's bubbling out just a hair. But, so here's like an omni-grid ruler. Like I love how the dots are on here, how the lines are on here. So my 3" by 18" I got in this style. And then I got an Omni Grip, which is by the same company. And that one I think has some grippies on the bottom. I'm not sure. All right, we're pretty much at that 6.5". I'm not mad at that at all. That's like freaking great, actually. That's like probably one of my better measured blocks when we're done. So good. All these should end up, around, or like not around, but they should end up perfectly at 6.5" like this. And then once it's sewn into the quilt, you lose another 1/4" on all the sides. Cute though. Dang, got another one done here this week. That feels great. So let's get my pen and we can cross off another one in here, and we can see what to do next. This is excellent. All right, out of here. First aid. Oh yeah, the next one we were talking about is this figure 8 one, which was also by Jane Davidson, and same as who did this one, and that is on page 103. So let's check that out. 103. Oh yeah, okay. Ooh, we got little triangles here. Figure 8. One of my favorite quilting motifs is the figure 8 pattern. There's nothing like the feel of guiding the sewing machine in a continual motion like an ice skater over the ice. Oh, that's cool. So she must sew them on like that. Okay. Ugh, this is written for needle turn applique. The patterns are symmetrical and do not need to be reversed. Okay, needle turn applique. Do we want to do this needle turn applique? That's another question. 2 assorted dark prints, 2 assorted light prints. Light, dark, okay. And 4 squares that are 4 inches of assorted prints for the petals. Okay, so we need 4 colors for the back, some that are light and some that are dark. All of mine are kind of light, so we have to work on our contrast for lights and darks, so that'll be a little bit of a challenge. Although we kind of had to do that with this too. We kind of went light, dark, even though it all kind of blends together. But if you squint, this outside, or this you know, besides the white, this outside thing does feel a hair darker than everything else. So we have some contrast between the background. So we're going to need something like that here. Oh, I do want to use white. Again, I'm using white in every single block. So one of our lights will be the white. Okay, make plastic templates using the A and B patterns in the pattern sheet 1. Okay. So I think it's already 9:22. So I think tonight we probably won't start this, but it's good to get a little sense of what's happening here. So it looks like I have to get, I have the pattern sheets, one's there and one's here. So it looks like I have to get the applique piece traced. So I'll look around in here for that. So then tomorrow we can do that. So I don't know. I'm leaning theoretically to just doing iron-on, or a fused raw edge fused figure 8s here versus needle turn. I'm really leaning towards that. I wonder if the pattern or the template added a 1/4 inch, or so. I don't know. Just because we'll be able to get it done faster. Like we might, let's see, today's Wednesday. If we did it fusible applique, then we'd probably be able to get this done by the end of the week, which would be amazing. So that's why I'm leaning towards the fusible. Let me know if any of you've done this and did the needle turn applique. I don't know. Right now, I'm not feeling like doing needle turn applique. I'm feeling like getting another block done. So I think we'll do fusible. I'm just curious what the one after this is Fresh Start, page 44. All right, so this is the next one after that. So that's quite a bit of piecing. So yeah, I think we can get this one done by the end of the week if we do fusible. Okay, but these pieces, we're going to have to use templates too. Make a plastic template using the A and B patterns on pattern sheet. Trace A template on the wrong side. Oh, this whole thing is in needle turn, is it? No. So I think, yeah, we're going to have to cut some weird shapes and do some weird stuff. So I think we'll get it worked out. But yeah, I think we'll start this tomorrow. You could sew on the fusible in reverse. Oh, slit the back and turn. Oh yeah, we could do that. Oh, you're right. So we could do that. Lenore is suggesting that. So we could do that fake. Ooh, now I like that idea because I do like that. And then we don't have to use the fusible either. We could do our fake needle turn applique where we actually just sew a scrap piece of fabric on the back of the shape and then cut a slit in it and then turn it right side out and then just stitch it down. We could even hand stitch it down at that point, but I probably wouldn't. I would just sew on the edge still. So then it would still, I mean, at that point we might as well just fuse it. But like that hand stitching, if we still felt like hand stitching it, it would be easier to do it that way than having to actually physically turn the edge for each of those petals. But yeah, regardless, it looks like we got to get this front piece done first, so we'll be able to decide on that later. All right, you guys. So I think that's good for the evening. got this done way faster than I thought, which is amazing. Love when that happens. So we got another one checked off. This is like 7. So if we can get this figure 8 one done this week, that means we'll have 8 of these blocks, and that's enough to make 2 of our 4x4 blocks, which means we could quilt a pile of them again. We could quilt both of those, so that would be kind of cool. Yeah, so next month we could do some quilting, or we could make more blocks, whatever we're feeling, but we would be at the point that we could do 2 quilted blocks, and that would be lovely as well. So good, I'm shooting for trying to get this done in 2 days, which probably still means the fusible, but we'll see. I do like the idea of just sewing onto another piece of fabric and cutting a slit in, turning it right side out, and then sewing it down. I think that'd be perfectly legitimate way of doing this as well. So all right, I am going to head out then, and I will catch you guys tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. Thanks again. Good night.